Guys, first of all, welcome everyone. We're glad that you have found time during the hectic Monday morning, because usually Mondays are usually very, very hectic. And Today it's not only about coffee and croissant. Yeah, it's a chance to reflect, to grow, to connect together. And we will start with a wonderful topic with wonderful Jane. I met her last year on ITEFL, and I guess microlearning is now becoming more and more popular, and I'm super happy that Jane agreed to share her ideas, and she will be presenting just in a nick of time. Natalie, anything to what you'd like to add?
I'm super excited to have everyone here, and greetings to everybody who's watching this in the recording. I'm a linguist who's lost for words, and I don't even know how to express my gratitude to all the speakers who agreed to participate in this event and to share their insights, share their practical tips, and do this for free for everyone. So all of you, all the attendees, you get a feel of what IETFL is like, and you understand better what topics are presented there. And I really hope this inspires all of you to submit your proposals, because as I mentioned earlier, everyone who has some years of experience, everyone who has this habit of reflecting on their practice is ready to present at IETFL or any other international conference, because you have things to share and teachers love learning from each other. So please learn from our speakers, and then we really hope, I personally do hope, that I will get a chance to learn from you, from the people that I cannot see right now, yeah, but who are listening to this. So good luck to our speakers, and yeah, fantastic topic today.
And a bit of housekeeping, how it's going to work. As there were 300 plus applicants, that's why we decided to organize this Zoom webinar. How you can communicate with the speaker. There is a Q&A session icon, so if you have a question while Jenny is speaking, post it in Q&A. When Zhenya, or as Zhenya asks you questions, type answers in chat. She will see the answers, and also after the session she will answer the questions. Her session will last for 30 minutes, then we have 10 minutes break, and then Sasha joins with her own session on managing people. So Zhenya, off to you.
Thank you very much, and I'm very happy that you joined today. Thank you so much for your time. Can you please type anything in your chat, like plus if you're here, if you're drinking coffee now? Just please add, okay, you're drinking coffee. If you're multitasking and doing something else, 2 pluses, please. You're watching this conference, this smart branch, and doing something else. Okay, that's fantastic, multitasking. Great. And if you're just joining us and doing nothing, just watching, 3 pluses. Okay, probably coffee and the brunch. Okay, no, some people just watching. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for this opportunity for presenting. Thank you, Alla and Natalia, for organizing this really great online conference. My topic is Mastering Microlearning, Short in Time, Powerful in Result. So today, you'll learn in my session, and we'll talk about microlearning. How long should it take and why? When to use microlearning and when to avoid it. Design principles, how to design microlearning for your students or teachers. And get a little surprise at the end of my talk. So what is microlearning? Just do you see a couple of pictures?
Can you wait a second? Wait, guys, do you see the screen, the slides? Can you type a plus? Yes, yeah, you see, great. So I'm disappearing.
Thank you, that's very kind of you. Yeah, on your screen you see a couple of pictures, and I just want to type, is that microlearning? What do you think? You see TED, you see YouTube, some educational videos, wiki pages. Do you think it's all these things are microlearning? Yes or no? Okay. Okay. Yes and no. All right. Natalia Lashuk thinks not really, not sure. Depends on the structure. All right. Yeah. Okay. So in my talk, I'll tell you, I reveal you a little bit the truth and the research, what stands behind microlearning, what inspired me to learn more about microlearning. And by the end of the talk, I hope you'll have your answers too. So what is microlearning? Microlearning, I'd say, is a relatively new term, but now probably is not that new. And it was coined in 2002 by Dr. Theo Haag. He was professor at the Institute of Educational Studies at the University of Innsbruck, Austria. And Haag defined it as the delivery of learning sessions or different activities, learning activities, shorter duration than traditional teaching delivery, shorter than a lesson or a regular training. Initially, microlearning was associated with blogs, short videos, or even wiki pages, like from the previous slide. And it involved informal learning contexts compared to more formal and conventional learning opportunities. Since then, lots of people try to define microlearning, and these attempts have been ongoing. So today, different sources agree that microlearning involves breaking down learning material or existing formal training for the teachers, for example, into bite-sized pieces of information. So teachers or students can, say, complete the training sessions during small pockets of time throughout the day in their own time and pace. And these short focused microlearning modules or lessons are designed to cover specific actionable information in different and multiple formats. So I'd say, like, if you talk about microlearning, the first thing that comes to my mind is Duolingo, probably. Have you heard about this application? Just type yes or no. And do you agree that this particular app is designed as microlearning? All right, fantastic. Okay, let's move to other slides. Just a sec. So how long should it take and why? Why we'll talk a little bit later. How long should it take? Can you please type your answers? What do you think in the chat? Either like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 5, 10, 7. What do you think? Like ideal piece of information. 20 minutes, up to 30 minutes. Okay, 30 minutes. Yulia thinks 10 to 15 minutes, from 2 till 20. So we have different answers, different timings, but exactly why? All right, up to 30 minutes. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for your answers. So microlearning should take up to 10 minutes. I'd say microlearning can cover a span from some seconds, like think about a tweet or a TikTok or any short post, to 15 minutes, like a video. However, there is no agreed upon specific time frame for microlearning. I'd say we have these rough numbers from 10 to 15 to 12 minutes. And here is why. So I was really interested when I was designing training for my teachers, because I'm originally from Ukraine, but then I moved to Switzerland, and I started working as the teacher training manager at Education First. And we had like lots of different teachers throughout the world, because Education First is an international company. And when I was designing different videos for the teachers, I just noticed that with the time passing by, they sometimes forget the information from the training. That's why I just started designing these microlearning pieces of information, microlearning training, to refresh their knowledge. But I just started questioning myself how much time it should take. And then I just made some research and revealed some interesting data. So a study from the MIT, a study from the researchers from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the online course dropout rate averages around 96%. Can you imagine that? 96%. It means most of the cases, most of the times, people do not finish their training till the very end. A study from the University of California Irvine found that employees work on tasks for about 11 minutes before they are interrupted by a phone call or a text message or email or in-person interaction or any other distractions. 11 minutes. It takes employees an average 25 minutes to return to their original task after the interruption and concentrate again. Do you think it's relevant for you? Do you think it happens the same, like when you have a lesson or you have like your daily routines and you can constantly receive different messages on your phone, and then just here we go. Normally it's like 10, 15 minutes and you're interrupted. Yes or no? Do you think it resonates with you? You can type your answers in the chat if you have time. Or you're not interrupted now. All righty. There is another interesting study, a study from the University of Rochester. Independent studies have shown that microlearning videos are the ideal way to present training content to people. And a study of this university, like researchers, they looked at the amount of time students spent watching videos on various lengths for online courses. And the researchers found that attention began to wander and learners began skipping ahead when videos were longer than 9 to 12 minutes. So here we go. If your presentation or talk is longer than 12 minutes, then you start thinking about something else. Another interesting study, the World Economic Forum report. The Future of the Jobs report by the World Economic Forum indicates that by the end of 2025, about 50% of workforce will require reskilling in general. Again, think about the technology, AI, cybersecurity, and these trends are supposed to be the most popular in the nearest 3 years. And of course, with the AI, especially like many different skills, they need to be changed, they need to be adjusted. And again, I think that microlearning, and again, taking into account the amount of time we have nowadays, I guess when it comes in these bite-sized formats, it enables individuals, teachers, students, all the people to adapt these to changing job requirements and industry demands. So what are the benefits of microlearning? Of course, microtraining, microlearning has lots of benefits and is most effective when teachers or educators or learners learn on the go. In this new world of work, where teachers may be in the office, fully remote, or in some kind of hybrid combination, or not only teachers, even students, this bite-sized microlearning becomes really, really helpful. And when I worked at EF, we have noticed that teachers really appreciate the need of learning on their own schedule and at their own pace, not at the particular fixed time. And microlearning offers this approach. It offers this on-demand training material to all the educators whenever they are. Also, it solves specific problems. At EF, we found out that when teachers cover existing training, again, as I said, with the time passing by, they might forget some key points or some other really important information from the training, and they do not apply their skills in this daily teaching practice. So in our case, microlearning was an ideal solution when it served as a refresher. Or alternatively, in your piece of information, when you think about microlearning and try to design any kind of educational material to your students, addressing 1 or 2 learning objectives can help people to be trained if it's not necessarily a refresher course. Microlearning is short in time and comfortable in pace, as it takes only 10 to 12 minutes in length. It allows you to sneak in these learning sessions between the lessons or while waiting a bus at the bus station. So time is really important. And in this particular scenario, it's really short. Microlearning, normally when I design it, I try to make it engaging. So it's engaging and efficient content. I try to develop microlearning content, which is often video-led and highly visual, as it's boosting the chances of maintaining students' engagement or teachers' engagement from start to finish. Also, I can include some infographics or thought-provoking articles to support my pieces of information, to support my microlearning. Also, better learning retention. This is another benefit. Short microlearning courses are designed to address, as I mentioned, 1 or 2 learning objectives. And it allows you to quickly create focused and memorable activities that reinforce your knowledge. And also, it reduces the potential of mental fatigue because it focuses only on 1 or 2 things quickly as a refresher, or just like as gaining some new information. There is also another interesting study, the curve of forgetting. In the mid-80s, Hermann Ebbinghaus became the first person to create a scientific approach to study and classify memory and introduce the world to concepts like the learning curve and forgetting curve. The learning curve shows that just 20 minutes after learning something new, retention may drop by 60%. 1 day after learning, it drops to 30%. And by the time a week passes, learners may only retain 25% of what they learned. So Ebbinghaus' forgetting curve on the screen demonstrates that people typically lose 80% of the knowledge they learned within a month. Good news, because if this particular talk is not that interesting, you'll quickly forget about it. But if you need to refresh it, of course, or refresh some particular data or information, then you need to go probably through the slides again just to refresh your memory. So yeah, statistics like that can be a little bit scary for learning professionals because you invested time and resources into your training, and the last thing you want to have for the learners to forget the majority of it 1 week later. So the question is, how can we reinforce learning effectively so that it truly sticks? And Ebbinghaus remedied the forgetting curve by reciting and rehearsing over and over again in strategically spaced intervals. If you adopt this approach for your own lessons or for your training or microlearning, whatever, instead of a one and done approach, an ongoing strategic learning program will help learners recall and retain new information for longer periods of time. So the next slide, when to avoid microlearning. What do you think? When it's better not to use it? Because we talked about many different things, really positive ones, but are there any cases when it's better to avoid it? What do you think? You can type your answers in the chat. In exam prep, okay. Less visible in exam prep. Any other ideas? When introducing a new topic, yeah. Thank you so much for your answers. So yeah, as powerful as it is, there are times when microlearning training isn't the optimal way to get information across. So learn to, here are a few instances, or when not to rely on 100% on these brief training solutions. Like teaching complex ideas, like someone mentioned, Alexandra mentioned in the chat that, for example, like preparing for the exams. I really agree, absolutely agree. Microlearning is a powerful tool for conveying simple information, but may not be a great fit for more complex concepts, like exam preparation, or even dangerous, I'd say, to break down into standalone lessons to prepare for exams. I'd say instead, just reserve microlearning for high-level overviews and reviews, even preparing for exam. When students know so far the concepts, the grammar rules, the idea, like a refresher course, yes, then it's fantastic. Another scenario, mastering a new topic. Yulia Rinkiv said, And absolutely right. If you want employees or if you want educators to gain a deeper understanding of a topic, a few 6-minute lessons won't always get them there. For example, learning about teaching grammar takes more in-depth focus. In our family, by the way, we just have these endless conversations about Duolingo app because we are learning German and my family is like struggling a little bit. And it's not that easy. So we have regular classes with our teachers online. We have private classes and we have Duolingo app to support us. And for example, my mother-in-law, she says like, no, Duolingo app is really the best because like it helped me a lot to study, to remember the words. And I keep on saying as a teacher, like it takes you a lot of time to talk. You need to master your language with the teacher. And Duolingo app is just to refresh this information. Because if you'd like to talk, you'd like to develop conversation, to build meaningful conversations with people, you just need a little bit more than Duolingo app. What do you think, by the way? I'm interested in your opinion. So yeah, talking about microlearning, it's not really ideal solution when it comes to teaching quite complex topics or mastering a new topic. Let's talk about the design principles of microlearning. So like once you're there, you want to build a particular learning for your students, educators, employees, whatever. And you need to fit this content into like 10, 12, 15 minutes. You need to think about different things. So valuable content. This is what of the micro lesson, the actual topic. Instructors should ask themselves, what is it I want to teach my learners with a particular micro lesson? Content should be relevant and useful, and it should be part of something that will connect learners to their existing knowledge. And content is the key starting point in planning to integrate a micro lesson in the online course, for example. Then you need to have clear instructional purpose. This is why of the micro lesson, the reason. So you need to ask yourselves, what do I need this micro lesson and what do I wish to achieve from it? Instructional purpose is the reason for someone to develop a micro lesson on the chosen content. It can be understood in terms of providing a summary or a clarification of some tricky concepts, or simply as a refresher, as a review material. Again, appropriate length and structure. This is how of the micro lesson. While it's important to keep a micro lesson short, sticking to a specific time frame can be quite sometimes challenging. That's why it's better to think in terms of mental complexity and think about the structure of the micro lesson. Think about from the perspective that it should be clear and concise without much irrelevant or unnecessary features, such as like a lot of extra visuals or distracting animations, for example. Then it's appropriate timing, of course. This is one of the micro lesson. It's not only about the timing of the lesson, but also when to deliver it. If you'd like to design a particular material, think about when you're going to use the particular platform, when you're going to open the opportunity for the educators to study in the morning, during the day, in the evening, or the weekends. Contextually appropriate format. Consider how the micro lesson should be packed and delivered. What kind of platforms you are going to use, or do I make a video or an infographic or a text-based micro lesson like PDF form? Again, think about the platform and easy access to this platform. So think about how can my learners access the platform, because it should be really quite easy using the link or something similar. And it should reduce like this really difficult obstacles such as creating an account, entering your name, login requirements, learning, because this is quite like time consuming. And if you provide just a link for your students, that would be great. And the choice of appropriate interactivity. If developing a micro lesson can be analogous to creating a dish following a recipe. Interactivity would be the spices that can enhance the flavors to this particular finished product. So you can spice up a micro lesson by providing learners with opportunities to test their understanding on the content. So, for example, what I do in my micro learnings materials, I try to use different polls, quizzes, or other gamification tools to keep learners engaged and then check their knowledge at the end. And this is a case study. So as I mentioned, when I worked as a teacher training manager at Education First, I designed the refresher course to my teachers because we had like a lot of teachers, around 3,000 teachers all over the world were trained. And with their regular training, I designed these micro learning materials, micro lessons, so they could refresh the knowledge from their original training. And each particular training had a few lessons, and each particular micro lesson was designed up to 10 to 15 minutes. And I covered different content in the micro lessons I had. So like I designed a video, I also added a few interactive elements, PDF formats, and some flashcards, like gamification elements, so it's not that boring to scroll and learn and refresh the material. And the results were really great because after each training completion, whether it's mandatory training or regular training or optional training, we always try to gauge whether it was really nice or not. And the results were really great. So the training, this particular refresher course took almost like 200 teachers, even a little bit more. And there were 48 teachers who took the survey and shared their feedback. And the NPS score is like when the training is like they would really recommend the training to other teachers, was 90. It was really high. So, and with that particular case study, I understood that it's really great because you can rely on it when it's necessary, when you need it. So let's try to sum up what we have. Microlearning should be really concise, like cover 1 or 2 learning objectives. The duration of microlearning, ideally not 20, not 30, but to keep this in element of interest and attention, relying on attention, duration should take up to 10 minutes ideally. It's ideal when you use it to refresh specific skills or refresh some information that they already know, but not new information or presenting complex ideas. In these particular cases, it's better to avoid it. And in order to keep this interest and in order to keep the educators engaged, you need to follow the design principles in order to cover the information in a concise and interesting way. These are references I relied, and this is an example as promised at the very end. You can scan this QR code and just check what I mean by the microlearning. So like, for example, today I had a talk with 30 minutes almost. And if you'd pack this particular talk in less than or like approximately 10-minute microlearning, it would look like that. You can scan it and check this microlearning talk in your telephone. Thank you so much for being with me today. That's pretty much it from my side. Any questions?
Thanks. You can type questions in Q&A. Okay, people think. So which tool do you use to create micro classes? Alex asks.
Thank you so much for your question. There are pretty much different tools. Sometimes I just record short videos with my telephone, for example, and then you can always use YouTube channel, for example, to share. If you'd like to make it not probably necessarily on a more professional level, but different level, for example, the one I designed and shared with you now, this is a particular program which is called Articulate, rice, and you can Google it and then just try to play with it. It's really simple to use. I don't really remember if I guess it's not free of charge. You need to pay for this particular program, but you can give it a try for free for 1 month. Probably not. You need to check it, because we were allowed to use it kind of free of charge when I worked at the Education First, and I fell in love with it because it's so nice and easy to design any piece of information, whether it's lessons or microlearning or really like a nice training for your students. Articulate Rice, it's called.
Thank you. Another question from Julia Hrinkel. What are the most challenging cases for microlearning? Maybe in your experience, because it can be a lot.
Yeah, the most challenging for me is like to pack information in these 10 to 12 or to 15 minutes. Because once you design something, there is also like a lot of information you want to give to your students. And I find it quite challenging. But then I think about the design principles that I need to rely only on 1 or 2 concepts, 1 or 2 ideas, make it really concise and short. But if it's this challenging, you can always add to your microlearning or microlearning lesson. You can always add a link, for example, to your students. If you feel like just having more information about this particular topic, and if you have time for that, please feel free to check this book, for example, and then you can add a link to your particular training, to your particular lesson.
Thank
And
you.
in this case, like, yes, I feel that this is not that much burden.
That's pretty. It depends, I guess, how much courses students you got as well. Generally, are there any recommendations as to the number of micro lessons for a course?
This is a nice question. I guess it depends on the course again, but as soon as you feel that your students need to receive this particular refreshment course, then just feel free to design it, because you always gauge the result, whether it's a survey or the test, and you understand if your students need to have the resources that will help them to rely on it, to refresh the information, and to prepare a little bit more for the particular topic or for the particular anything you design, for the particular grammar lesson or anything like that.
Thank you
So much for your time. Thank you. It was a pleasure for me.
Hope to see you again on other IELTS sessions somewhere in Europe.
Thank you.